Stay Close is a contemporary music project that I devised about a year ago, and the aim of it is to encourage collaboration and exchange between Iran and the UK through contemporary music. So I came up with the idea for Stay Close about just over a year ago, so early 2013, and partly the reason was it was a time when there was just nothing but relentlessly bad news related to Iran in the news in the UK. It was when the nuclear issue was at a peak. It was before the most recent president came into power, who's been seen as a sort of a reforming force. So it was a really I found it quite a depressing time as someone who's a British-Iranian living in the UK. And I really wanted to produce something which just said something different about Iran, which showed a different side to talking about potential nuclear bombs. I wanted something positive and something more creative to come out of that relationship. Stay Close is supported by a number of bodies. We've received financial support from Arts Council England, the Jerwood Charitable Foundation and Iran Heritage Foundation. We also formed partnerships with the Victoria and Albert Museum, City University and Hermes Records, which is a record company based in Tehran. We've also been working with a community group for young Iranians and Afghanis and their families, which is based in Woolwich in southeast London. There have been a number of challenges in the project. First of all, just logistical challenges. It's a year-long project involving lots of different partners, lots of stages, and sort of getting all those things to work together has been quite a challenge. The project started with a research period in Iran, which was difficult to organise. It was difficult to find the composers we wanted to connect with, to make the connections with Hermes Records. Also, just for me personally, navigating my way around Tehran, speaking Farsi, which I hadn't done for quite a while, being in Iran, which I hadn't been to Iran for 10 years previously, so it's quite an emotionally tiring experience for me in that way. But that was actually, I think, one of the most rewarding parts of the project as well because of it. I think the biggest success in the project so far has been our relationship with IDA, the Iranian Youth Development Association. We ran a series of workshops at IDA, working with people, young Iranians and Afghanis from the age of 4, and then also up to 60 plus, working with their parents and families. And I think that was really successful because a lot of the people that we worked with had very little access or very little interaction with music in their lives. And we approached the workshop by focusing on an Iranian children's story and using that as a starting point for creating new music. It was a real great success. We had some of the small children we worked with decided to take the puppets they made into their schools and tell the children at their school this Iranian story, sharing their Iranian heritage with the largely English-speaking children in their school. And then we had slightly older children who are now seeking composition lessons, now looking to sort of further their education in music. And I myself have now formed a sort of longer-term relationship with IDA. I'm going to be their music teacher for the next year. So it's really sort of started an interest in music among the community, which I think has been a great success. I'd really like to show a different side to Iranian culture than the one that is often shown in the news, something much more positive and much more varied. From a personal point of view, I'm really interested in exploring the relationships and the differences between Iranian and Western classical musics. I'm a trained Western classical musician. Before this project, I had very little other than sort of amateur knowledge of Iranian classical music. So it's been really fascinating to learn about how the music functions, how the musicians think of and understand the process of performance. And for me, I see this as the starting point for something I'm going to be exploring as a composer throughout my whole life. This is just the first project, exploring how to bring those two musical cultures together, and I think I'll be doing this for the rest of my life, really. So the major highlights coming up in the project are our 2 concerts that we have. The first of which is on the 11th of April at 8 p.m. at the Victoria and Albert Museum. And it marks the closing of the Jameel Prize, which is a biannual prize awarded to an artist inspired by Islamic heritage. So I think our project fits really well with the idea of the Jameel Prize, sort of taking art inspired by Islam and bringing it into a contemporary place. And the second concert will be at City University on the 20th of May at 7 p.m. And this concert will follow a day-long conference exploring Middle Eastern music practices, at which I will be giving a talk about the project in general and about my experiences of working on it.